Hello, hello, people. Hello, people of the internet. Yes, I am streaming once again. We are streaming a scrim from Militia here, and it's going to be our 2-2 team Talon against Entity in a scrim here. So we're going to be here enjoying it here. Hello, hello, people. And sounds like the sound's alright. Okay. And where are we going? Making sure everything's working. Okay, everything should be working. We're gonna And so now we're just kind of waiting for stuff to start. So Entity will be our blue team, and Talon will be our red team. Fitting. So we'll be getting started here in a moment. So starting here, we'll be playing with the scrim code here on the scrim code of DKEEH. So, to start out, we'll be starting out here on Nepal. So, how the scrim code works, for those who are not entirely sure how that works, but if you are familiar, but just as a reminder, we're going to play all 3 maps. And, yeah, teams kind of have some time in their spawn room just to wait and make sure they are good to go. So, starting out here, it looks like we're going to be choosing our teams really quick. Entity is rolling out on a ball comp with a Juno Zen Genji Freya, while our team Talon is rolling out on a bit more of a, I'd say more of a poke comp, but a pokey rush, generally, with a Orisa Freya Ashe and a Lucio Kiri. So it looks like they're generally wanting to play rush here, but they do have poke potential. So I'm just quickly getting all the links to we got people watching. Hello. Currently, I am looking away from my chat, which is on my phone, because, yes, I'm that much of a plebeian, I don't have 2 monitors, yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Okay, so as we start to roll out, looks like Talon's taking the high ground here, all bunching up together, and it looks like Ice Cream takes a dive in, but Ace gets the better of the Freya duel. Okay, so starting out, looks like Talon's gonna get a quick win here, and they are gonna secure the first point here. I'm gonna have to try to, yes, so we're gonna start here, watching Orb as we take the start, face tanking up against Ice Cream, who decides to change the Orisa, and Kenny's gone, so the Tracer did. So, face tank Orisa duel, speed ring, pop, as Ice Cream launches themselves at Victor, who actually manages to get away from that. Mare finishes off Ice Cream, finished off the Orisa, and it looks like we will be. Looks like a point flip there for Team Entity. And we're going to be getting going on that. Okay, so. Fast holds this high ground. Trying to see if they can pick off somebody before they stop by. Ice cream, helping it. Trying to see if they can get any pressure here. Penny on the off angle. Or so pops a Terror Surge. It ends up catching two people. It gets a quad here. Orisa 4K on go orb here. We'll be moving into the next fight here. Sorry, it's still kind of sending links. I'll just stop that for now. While we get into this, hello to the people watching. So, Fast poking on the off angle because Dexterity's here on that Surge watching. So it looks like we're going. Ooh, Dexterity gets the better of the hit scan duel. Technically Frey is flexed, but even then the hit scan's player. It looks like this will be a fight win, though Bob is sent into the point by Nightmare. And Bob will keep the point here stable. Nightmare remains really low though, poking it out, but Furia keeps them up, and Orb also kept up, and it looks like that will be a sort of C9, I guess, by Entity here. They are unable to touch the point, and we're gonna go to the next map, after Village. Also, Fleesh, if you are watching, you are free to come join me. I don't know if you are, but boop-a-doop-a-doop-beep-boop. Self-promotion. Sorry to the people right now. I'm currently posting links to the stream in different Discords, so forgive me if I'm sort of looking away half the time. It's always this first one that's always the toughest, because I'm always trying to get this done. It's always the tough one. Hey, I advanced to level 7 on one of my friend's servers. Yay. Okay. So, here we go. Rolling out on Sanctum. No changes from either team. It looks like, though, we're going to be playing the Brig Juno standard brawl composition here from most teams playing competitive. So, we're going to start here on the fight of mid-bridge. I'm going to get a better angle on this. So, looks like Orb's going to be holding center point first, as Orisa's kind of dueled out, jockeying for position. Regain Dexterity, hold the off-angle stairs, looking to kind of provide some off-angle pressure, and Kenny's going to be here pressuring the point first on Entity. Orb pushes forward, but decides against continuing to chase. Ends up pushing back to the bridge, and Kenny's forced off point. Looks like Espresso just gonna keep pocketing Ice Cream here on the Juno, keeping the team up, but it looks like the first cap's gonna go to Entity, held by Kenny. Almost a full point flip. Fury almost gets pushed off the map, and Ice Cream also almost gets boost off the map. But Spear in ends up sending? And we're just gonna get a very scrappy fight here. Kenny, though, kind of trying to pester the backline here of Talon, but unfortunately doesn't look like they're gonna get anything going as East does take them out. Blue Jay, though, contest point, boops off Alpha, but ends up managing to give that smooth Lucio wall ride, taking out Blue Jay. So, 5 ults here on the side of Talon. Well, at least 4, with one very close coming up, with one already ready on Entity, with one really close and one really coming up. We'll kind of hop in here. Gets a pick. Unfortunately, ends up getting very low, unable to continue fighting. I gotta change perspective. Or it's gonna be face tanking here. On point, pops a Terror Surge. Ends up picking out Blue Jay here. It looks like it's just gonna be a reset defense, but it looks like they still wanna keep pushing the tempo here. Playing a little cheeky here. Ice control. Going in. Gets the boot. It looks like they're gonna be down again. Okay, pop on the point. Ice Cream's gonna have to back up here around the corner. Pass those. Looks like they're looking for a pick. See if we can catch somebody lacking. Terror Surge and Overclock popped by Entity. Ends up getting a few kills, leaving Bass as a lone survivor of Talon, and they end up flipping the point. 98% here on Talon. Poking the off angle. Making their way back. You can kind of hold space here as the Orisa's duel it out again. Terror Surge, popped by Orb. And a bullet shot, popped by Ace. Unable to get anything, and Blue Jay pops the rally. Alpha though, gets another boot kill on him. As for saying that, beat here pop. We're gonna continue with an orbital ray pop by Espresso, trying to pot up towards Talon, but it kind of goes for naught, going nowhere. And Nightmare and Alpha getting more picks here for their team. They are just doing a lot of damage here. Or at least getting a lot of final blows here. 70-80% here for Entity, but it looks like its flip's gonna happen as we spot overtime. Orb gets the push off onto the thing. Sombra brought in to contest, but they're too low to end up sustaining here on point. And Espresso and Blue Jay are gonna try to see if they can sustain this point a little bit, but Espresso gets taken out and Blob is popped out, and they just run over Blue Jay as break. And it looks like Kenny and Ice Cream are gonna be back on point. Oh, a save from the Terror Surge. Keeps Ice Cream on the point for a little bit, but they're not specifically touching. And that's going to be second point here for Talon.
0-2.
Let's take a look here at our map stats here.
Ready for battle.
After 2 rounds here on Nepal, and we're going to be heading to Temple here to close it out. So, big performance here to kind of start out is Ice Cream obviously doing a lot of damage, but that's kind of a face tank of the Orisa. Dexterity also doing well for their team. Got a couple picks on that Overclock. With Nightmare and Orb also popping in a lot of damage, and Bass also getting a lot of final blows. Same with eliminations on Alpha, but there was a lot of boop kills I noticed. Healing though, Espresso is popping out a lot of it, having to keep their team up quite a bit. Kenny looks like they're going to make the swap over the Genji as the Tracer wasn't working, as they are only at a barely 2300 damage. We'll be looking at this third point. Dexterity will make the swap over the Tracer as well. And looks like Victor will be making the swap over to a Juno, which is going to be a little more dive.
Capture the objective.
Hi, Ronan. Yes. Hi. So, Dexterity, first one to hit point, kind of holds his corner, but unfortunately, Talon ended up rotating in that direction, and they'll have to force away. Who do we want to pop on? Anybody specifically want to pop on? If anybody asks in chat, I would to watch somebody specific, I will. But anyway, Talon, gonna end up holding this first point, ends up holding the stairs. Ice Cream has to face tank it a little bit. And Nightmare getting really low. Trying to get a pick here on Kenny on the off-angle battle. Alpha though gets the pick. Blue Jay remains really low and kind of gonna hang out there. Orb ends up getting taken out. And the Ice Cream trying to chase down Alpha and Furia. ends up having to get forced away from Nightmare from a lot of poke, but ends up getting speared. Looks like Talon is going to have to give up. Looks like they get the first cap, but unfortunately, it looks like FD is going to get the second cap. The character's top, but in response. And Alpha and Orb and the rest of Talon just end up poking out Ice Cream a lot. I'm going to just say ice. It's simple for my voice. That's taken out, and it looks like that will be point here. That will be point here. It looks like it's just going to be a regroup here from NTD as Orb pushes up to the statue, trying to gain some more position, and Alpha kind of sitting with him. %43% is their first bit of percentage on this specific submap. Oh, but a spear sends Ice Cream off the map? I did not see that. Where is that? Hang on. I'm still gotta get used to my F keys to spectate the right person. So 1 through 5, and then 7 through 11. And that's gonna be my keys here that I kinda gotta pay attention to. So, here. Dexterity ends up taking it out. Furia, but it remains really low. Picks up the health pack. In there. Finishes out Ice Cream as I'm spectating. We've got Dexterity here on this kind of cheeky little angle. Trying to see if they can catch Bass lacking. See if we can catch the pulse bomb. Looks like they're just gonna sneak the objective here, but it looks like Nightmare turns around quite fast. Oh, sticks on the back! And ends up getting taken out. And Dexterity is just gonna end up backing out of this. And it looks like the orb will pop, and it looks like eventually will end up pushing in, and it looks like Talon will tie away. But Bob pops in. Oh, good headshot here. How's the stream looking? Is the stream looking okay? I think the stream looking okay. At least what I can tell. It'll probably be a little bit better. The bit rate I wouldn't say is horrible. Anyway, continuing forward. Looks like Furia gets really low. Alpha though, picking up 2 kills here. It's just gonna be a scrappy fight here on point, and it looks like Alpha's gonna be chasing down here Dexterity. If I get anything or out. Will be a point flip. 76 and then 85 and counting for Talon. This here. Here. Come on. Try to run forward. Try to get the pace here. Try to get the point. Try to compress for overtime, but I think they did actually end up. They did. That's at 97, but ends up getting taken down. They are unfortunately able to undo it. Dragon Blade here, popped by Kenny, trying to see if they can get any value. Blue Jay with Espresso sitting here on point, watching the corner. Dexterity seeing if they can get a backline pick. Kenny ends up picking out Nightmare. Shooting rush here, popped by Curious, seeing if they can finish out the last couple of people sitting here on point. Espresso goes down to Orbital. Blue Jay and Dexterity still holding this point, but unfortunately, it looks like this is going to be a full 3-map sweep here on Nepal for Team Talon. It looks like they're just trying to sustain here on point. Parasurge though, kills Furia. It looks like Entity isn't going down without a fight. They're going to make this overtime. Definitely have to work for it. But unfortunately, just too much damage, and they're going to end up losing it out here. As Talon, known as Team 2, is getting the win here. Play the game here to Orbital, or Orb, but unfortunately we're not going to watch it. Shame. Hello, Fleesh.
Hello.
Hello, Rez.
Yo, do you mind inviting me to the thing?
Yeah, I can invite you. Here.
Hey, are you gonna screen share the scrim?
I can screen share here. Though I don't know. We'll see how well it runs on my thing. We'll see how well my frames are in game, I guess, but but hopefully people in chat are enjoying, for those who either aren't playing or maybe are playing but deciding to watch instead.
Awesomeness. Oh man, see, this should have been. Fleece, man, you dropped the ball here.
What did I do?
This should have been a watch party up in the
It was
studio.
a last second thing that I
We
said.
didn't. I did.
This was a last second thing that I said, hey, I'll cast your guys.
No, it's okay. You don't have to take up for Fleece.
What? I didn't even know about.
Okay, but it looks
No,
like
I
we'll be
can't
going to King's Row here. Looks like Talon will be picking after the first pick went to Entity. Doesn't look like any swaps coming in here, at least for right now. Omega. Yes, Ronan, I definitely agree, guys. Riz, you know, we love the sort of roasting of Fleece. We love it. Anyway.
Ouch! That hurt.
Okay, looks like no swaps here coming in. No swaps coming in, so both teams are going to play with their same lineup that they played with on Nepal. So we get King's Row. Talon obviously being the red team. They will always be the attacking side first on maps like Escort and Hybrid. And it looks like we will be getting underway here in a couple seconds. As we enter King's Row. King's Row. Very classic map, usually known for styles of brawl, though first point is definitely a different beast entirely.
Yep, I like to play a more high ground control, like have my support set up on the left high ground, and then just have DPS tank rotate up to high, clear it, then just take angles from there.
Well, King's Row first point though is notoriously hard to hold, regardless when you're playing defense. So it's teams always come up with different strategies. Each team kind of has their own strategy for defending the high ground. Sometimes, if you want to play a brawl and they want to play dive, sometimes you may just want, as the brawl comp, to sit on the high ground to start. If they're not playing dive, then you just drop down. But it looks like we're going to be seeing a Mercy Ana here on the side of Entity. Looks like with a Pharah pocket and or a potential Soj pocket, but it looks like they're going to be adding time here. Deciding it out here. While we have Talon here on a aggressive D.Va comp with another Lucio Curie, and they're running the same DPS line. So just a tank swap here on the side of Talon. Looks like they're going to be playing the D.Va here to contest the high ground possibly, but who knows, maybe when they see Ice Wing, we'll go back to the Arista. So we'll see. What is the button? Yes.
5, 4, 5, 4.
Yes, I always never remember that button. Anyway, now that I know the button combo, we're good. Anyway, as we begin this attack, rolling out here is Talon. No changes. Looks like they will be running. Looks like they're running kind of the Pharah Mercy by a bit of pressure here. So, Orb takes the high ground here. Gonna be kind of holding here. Fast though.
Early pick from Mace.
Takes up a bit. Ends up being down a support, and that's the problem with Mercy, is that if she gets picked, it's just... She's good, useful as a pocket, but not much else. And Orb gets left here by Espresso, but it's just going to be basically running through Orbital is going to... Orb is just going to be kind of running through the team, and it looks like they'll be taking a really quick tap here. Luja gets the res onto Dexterity, but it looks like Orb is just going to be holding to the high ground to keep denying any space. Dexterity. There. End up. Looks like he's gonna be here at the back of the statue watching this. making sure Kenny can't actually get any value here, and it looks like this will be a cap here for Talon, as they'll end up getting here at the second point with about 5.5 here to go.
A captured. Escort the fuel.
Yep, they should be looking to clear out this far, to prevent her from taking any space. Right.
Right now, it looks like they're doing a good job here denying this space from the far. It looks like Kenny's going to be playing around the rooftops here, trying to see if they can get any sort of potential pick here, but it doesn't look like they're going to.
Their tank is far up. They got punished for it. They not. Let's just clean ups from here. They can probably get a late game stagger on the Mercy.
And looks like they will.
They
end up
get
doing
it.
that. Fortunately, Mercy will not be joining them in the Rave respawn, but I would think they might change here, considering how much it's not working. Considering Kenny hops off the far to the Genji, and looks like Blue Jay is going to be going over to the Kiri, so a little more sustain here for Team Entity as we hop into second point, and we go around this second as we hop around the S corner. Looks like Nightmare, Kyria, and Alpha are going to be holding the high ground here, but Kyria drops that. Nice.
The aggressive
really
beat.
low.
The direct target onto the Ana, and just clean up the immobile people.
Ends up catching the Ana, who's kind of just.
They could probably use maybe a Bulbo shot to finish up the fight to get an early pick, but they don't.
It doesn't look like they'll end up having.
They're just waiting for a recent test.
Doesn't look like they'll have to do it. They'll kind of be happy holding on to ults here. They got 4 ults here. After that aggressive feed, Ice gets really low though.
This ends now.
Gets healed up by his special on Blue Jay, and the Kitsune Rush popped out by Kyria to try to push forward. Ice Cream no, pops the Terror Surge to deny the point a bit, but unfortunately doesn't get anything. 0.7 left to go on the second point, and it looks like we're still going to have a few ults here on Talon as Orb is trying to see if this Bob popped in, shooting at Ice. It looks like they're just going to be holding this corner. Ice has to hold the space to deny Cart, but unfortunately ends up getting taken out by too much damage from the rest of the Talon and the Bob. And he also gets picked up by Ace. Ace here sitting in the back, but also doing a very decent job getting kills as the Freya. Nightmare gonna be holding this high ground space with Ace pushing the cart. Kenny is kind of lurking around. He's gonna be taking up the high ground, hoping to deny space here from Nightmare, but Orb's gonna come up here to protect with the help of Alpha. Ice looks like maybe swap over to Diva, try to kind of play it into the mirror. And it looks like they're going to be holding the high ground, but ended up getting close off, and Kenny hops up as well. Beat here, pop by Talon, and builds up another one. Blue Jay ends up getting taken out by a booster boot. And it looks like it's just going to be another sort of cleanup here for Talon as entities just unable to kind of find anything solid here. Find any kind of solid just positioning that they can gain. Blade and Kitsune Rush, and an overclock and a nano. Here for entities. Kitsune Rush popped in for the recontest, but unfortunately that leaves Dexterity caught, but Kenny's gonna block the blade. Ends up getting Nightmare and catches Bass, and he's just gonna keep going in, keep cutting. Gets 2. Alpha takes out Blue Jay, and then Kenny. But unfortunately, the hero play from Kenny is just gonna go for naught as Talon just keep cleaning up these kills. Responds to Kitsune Rush here to see if they can finish it out. Ice demect. Ends up getting pooped off the map by Alpha, and looks like Dexterity is just going to be contesting here on the Tracer, seeing if they can just get anything.
End up getting the early pick on the pick on the Lucio.
Yeah. Kenny ends up getting the nano to see if they can live, but unfortunately doesn't live. How close to respawn that entity is, they are just unable to get anything solid here on the point, and it looks like this will be cap here for Talon. 2:49 on the clock.
Score 0-3. Switching sides. Ready for battle.
Good verse attack here by Talon.
I'll find my own path.
Just gonna TP so then we can watch it on the point. Yeah, what do we think of this first round? What do you think of Talon's attack here comparatively to Entity's defense?
They keep up.
Sorry.
Yep, Talon running the same thing. Probably gonna play for more the high ground angles on the backside. Try and tank angles. Probably with the Freya take one angle, Dash take another. Lucio peel for both of them. Just have the carry Diva play as a core. That's how I would play this, but looking at the enemy team comp, it's kind of weird.
I'm gonna take the assumption that
They might be
Widow-
running the.
I'm gonna take the assumption here that they're gonna swap off the Hanzo and the Widow after they potentially don't get trained. But it looks like no, Dex is gonna stay on
Yep.
this Widow, possibly trying to provide a little more pressure. Gonna be playing a Sigma to kind of deny a little more of the Diva dive. Unfortunately, Orb ends up catching out Dexterity as they try to take space. Or at least Widow trying to catch the angle. So looks like they'll be making the rotation up to high ground, though Talon here sits here firmly on it. Gonna be denying that space. I gotta get the right person. Orb gonna be charging in here. And it looks like they're just gonna be caught out by the rest. Oh, not quite caught out here, as they manage to get away from the rest of Entity. Ice cream here, gonna be hitting the face here against the Diva. He's sucking in his shield, but unfortunately he's kind of holding this corner. Kind of holding by the statue, seeing if he can potentially get a pick out onto the core. Here with Orb.
I was about to say they gotta watch out for the Widow, but
Yeah,
they got picked off early.
And they're getting the pick and Kenny's
What's that
taking
lose?
out Furia.
It's marking them.
It looks like they will be backing up, and it looks like we will get some point progress here on the side of the Entity. They'll be taking clear the space.
Oh, the Diva goes in.
Unfortunately, he gets the beam. Unfortunately, DMAC here, and it looks like they'll unfortunately kind of be staying themselves out. That's watching this high ground though. Unfortunately, gets picked out here.
Oh.
I'm trying to see if he can make an angle happen, but unfortunately, just nothing.
Oh, they end up going trying to go for the last minute recontest, but does not work. The Diva ends up getting remacked. Well, they do get up a trade on the Widow. So that can't gain them some extra time to regroup and stabilize.
So 4.5 minutes. Take the second point. And it looks like they'll just be pushing the card through. It looks like Talon's just kind of waiting to regroup as Orb here holds space on the S. With here Ice trying. Though, ooh, good rock here. Why the Sigma catch Orb without letting their Genji die? Any of those still going to be holding this off angle here. Watching it. Looking to possibly catch Kyria here out. Gets a few pops on it.
That's a three-man flux. Then the forcing the Diva bomb.
Force the extra life here. But unfortunately the flux goes for naught, but Kenny does get the follow-up.
The DPS are playing backline. The Widow too. And she got immediately punished, getting into Genji ends up being able to back out of it, but now they're getting taken.
Okay, I'm looking at my thing. I think my stream might be a bit like so I might have to stop here, guys. Sorry. Anyway, as we continue onward,
Diva Lucio ends up getting a pick on the break rally in response to the beats. Yep. They end up getting backed up by the start of rally. Yep. Blue Jay just end up getting picked off by the Diva Lucio.
but trade here on Lucio from Kenny, but ends up getting traded out as well. Blade goes for naught. Bob here pops here under the thing. Bob under the stairway, and looks like Dexterity's just gonna face tank the Bob as they just reset here. 0.05 here to go on the second point. That's gotta be heartbreak. They were so close to being able to take this. Unfortunately, they're just gonna have to reset and get the fight back. Nano here on the side here of Entity with close flux coming up, but Talon does have a Kitsune Rush, and they are also close to a Diva Bomb. An extra life for Orb. Looks like they will be pushing up here. They'll be taking the low ground, but Orb's gonna hold up here on this high ground. Kinda potentially force out some cooldowns. Kenny and Dexterity both holding here by bar on the top high ground. Kitsune Rush pops off the roof, and looks like, unfortunately, kind of goes into the wall, but looks like, ooh, Victor does get picked off by the rock here, but gets traded out by Dexterity. Looks looks like Entity will make their play now, trying to see if they can force point, but Orb pops onto Espresso and Blue. Okay, and the Dynamite ends up finishing off the break. Go gets the trade on Hysteria. But unfortunately, this looks like it's going to be a fight loss here for Entity. I'll have to reset. Minute and a half left to go. King's Row second point can be so hard to take, especially when you're right near the close of the checkpoint, because the enemy team has a closer spawn. Ice is gonna hold this corner, with Orb kind of holding the high ground, watching it tightly.
Up here, Talon needs to play defensively because they are all disadvantaged with them having nano slots. They end up nanoing the Sigma, trying to clear that DPS off the high ground. The duo offers should do it. D.Va ends up taking a backline presence on the back.
Pushing the payload in, unless anybody else can contest. It looks like this will be point touch. It looks like we'll get the point touch. Minute and a half left to go. Ice does pick out Bass. As Bass did try to see if they can get it. Unfortunately, a trade here. Two trades here on the side of Talon. Ends up catching the rest of the team. And it looks like... But, 2 minutes to go. Entity will have this third point. They will have the new spawns and like slightly closer spawns here to keep it going. Bob. Oh, good pick here by Dexterity. Catching out the Widow. Catching the Widow left. As they go in. Swap. Pop. Catches fast low, but Nightmare pops the bomb in response. Unfortunately gets taken out, but Dexterity gets taken out by the bob. Ice gonna be eating a lot of the bob damage, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they got a lot of over help that they needed.
Talon does end up getting a pick onto the Genji. And they're just trying to contest the point while their team ends up coming back, and they have a player advantage. They end up using the Boba, but it doesn't catch anyone. But they end up forcing that enemy back.
Talon gets a recontest, and looks like Entity will be just backing out of this point. Guys, by the way, if you'd like to, feel free to watch the things. I am streaming it on YouTube and stuff like that, so.
Hello there. Yeah, I don't see you.
I put it in self-promo.
It's in self-promo.
Okay, beat popped here by Victor, and Nightmare gets a pick onto Espresso, who ends up changing off the Ana to go to the Fury. Blade here, popped by Kenny, as he looks to make a play on the backline. Victor gets very low, gets slashed up by Kenny, and Kenny's able to escape that. Oh, I say that, but unfortunately, Orb ends up getting the pick. 20 seconds left to go. Bomb Kitsune Rush for Talon with a Rally Flux here for Entity with a low Flux here. Pop. Looking, ends up not being able to get anything, and Victor's just hanging around a little too long here on that rooftop against Ice. Ends up getting kicked, but Orb does take out their counter in the main score. Ray popped, trying to keep Ice up, but it doesn't look like the Orb actually gets anywhere. It looks like a Rajax. Yes, it's here, trying to see if they can keep their team up. And it looks like Ice will end up going down. And it looks like Ice and the rest of Entity will end up falling short here of this third point. Good job to backcap onto the third point, but unfortunately they are just unable to keep the momentum going.
Play of the game.
They end up going to Route 66, probably trying to take a longer range approach to this, probably going to continue the Sigma comp.
Yeah, this is map pick.
Yep.
Each other, so.
But it does like promote the diva comp that Talon was running. There is high ground presence that the diva can take. And there is a lot longer ranges that the Ash Freya can
But
take advantage
due
here.
to the high grounds, this can also be a decent dive map because we do see stuff like Winston and plus the Diva and even Ball played on this map. So we'll see what the teams want to play. I think it benefits on defense. It benefits a little more from poke, whereas in offense you benefit a little more from dive. But we'll see. Swaps potentially from Talon. We shall see what potentially is picked here. The only sub they have is Ronin. Here. And looks like they will be bringing in Ronin for Ace. Ronin, usually playing a lot of Soj, likes playing that hero a lot, but also will play the Reaper afterwards, but it's generally kind of a Soj one trick. I don't know. I'm sure he's trying to get away from the Soj, and I'm sure they're working on that, but Ronin just tends to have the comfort pick for Soj.
Now I feel like it even promotes even more the double hit scan backline with Ronin in, as he is generally a hit scan player.
Yeah, but Ace is coming out, so they're kind of opposite in the hit scan is coming out. But also Nightmare has been playing a lot of Ashe here, so it's been definitely assume from the Freya Ashe. I'm assuming we'll go to Soj Ashe instead.
Ready
66
for
to start. And it looks like they're going to be playing... I have a feeling they're going to be bringing out their ball comp. They're kind of their ballish dive comp here. Where it looks like we'll have Kyria, Ronin, and Victor all kind of playing a kind of core with Orb and Nightmare making the dives. On the side of Entity, they'll be bringing out a Winston composition with a Genji cast Brig Ana, so classical dive comp here, where Brig Ana cast is your core with your Genji Winston being your front line, and I'm going for hits. So both teams playing similar strategies here, but with different characters in play. Obviously, though, the one thing that's consistent, though, is likely the Ana. Nightmare, though, still hasn't made their pick, and looks like the time will just be added to the clock. And Nightmare is going to make the choice of Echo. So the only thing similar between these two comps is the Ana, because Ana is usually a core staple of dive comps. As we hear on Route 66, we're just waiting for players to get themselves ready. Ronin just put in chat, "It's not my fault the pew pew right click tickles my brain." Anyway,
Classic Ronin.
as we roll out, here Orb's going to be taken under the low ground here, seeing if they can potentially see if they can isolate something, and Nightmare is just going to hold under the tunnel, though Kenny does end up checking that. Orb gets a dive, ends up catching. And unfortunately,
The monkey ends up getting booped off the high ground and getting punished for it. Using his abilities early.
oh, but a huge hinder here by Dexterity ends up keeping Orb from being able to slam. It looks like, but unfortunately they'll just be backing out with Blue Jay going down, but it looks like Ice is going to make the count, this swap to ball and playing a very similar style here. Wanting to get those slams. Looks like they'll be waiting. Orb. Oh, gets headshot.
Ooh.
Poor Ronin. There, fan the hammer, pop.
They do end up getting trades on the cast and the Genji.
Yeah. Orb
As the ball gets healed up, they're probably going to end up diving Kyria, and that's exactly what they do. The whole team's at the peeling for her. The ball gets body blocked from the wall.
Ice.
He messes up the grapple.
Right. Ice getting body blocked hard.
The move.
Kyria ends up taking out their counter on a part. Kyria's gonna sit behind the rock here. Play safe for right now. Winning. Nightmare gets hit onto Ice, and Ronin takes out. takes out Dexterity. After then, they got double doinked with the dink doink. So,
They do end up switching to the Sigma comp I was talking about earlier.
I
Probably
wouldn't even,
to take.
I won't even,
I'm not sure what much it will do.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Because
but-
the ball is
but-
just gonna have to disrupting their backline.
Yeah, no. It's gonna be, and Sigma doesn't have the greatest high ground control. Sure, he has the perk that can make him fly, but unfortunately, I don't think there's much else that you can kind of do.
He doesn't have it, yeah.
Orb and Nightmare are just running rampant in the back line here eventually, and right now, they just have no way to stop it. Orb, takes a rock to the face, but ends up still living. Looking to possibly assassinate Blue Jay, but ends up not being able to end up hitting him. Ronin and Dexterity are just having the ultimate of DPS battle. Dexterity is trying to see if they can pick out Victor here, but unfortunately gets really low and ends up getting just 1-2'd here with a Deadeye in hand. And it looks like Orb's gonna end up diving onto his Espresso, ends up catching them out, but Ice takes out the Echo in response, but can't live for much longer after Orb takes them out.
If you're the ball sitting up on top, they'll try and get early hits. Probably gonna combine it with a nade. I think
Orb
sticky.
hanging really
They
high,
just gotta get the
looking
timing.
for the huge ball slam. Because I'm not sure, does ball's damage when he slams change depending on how high you are? I don't know. I'm not
No,
sure.
it doesn't.
It
No.
doesn't? Okay. Trank pop in response to the blade as Penny does end up catching Kyria, but unfortunately that's probably all they're gonna get. Ends up getting taken out.
Their backline is blocked off by the mines in the ball, stuck inside the mini room, while the rest of the team Talon ends up brawling up them out. They just end up losing the brawl due to not being any heals.
And while you would consider Brig on a very, like, anti-diveable backline, they're just... Talon's just getting, like, the picks here, and they're able to actually find the opportunity to take them out. Though Alpha gets taken out by Espresso, but Nightmare ends up cleaning up the kill there. Penny's left alone in the backline. Unfortunately, he can't do much. Sub 4 minutes left to go as third point rolls around, and Talon is still going to be pushing this bot. Or I should say payload. Also, hello to people in the chat. We got 5 people watching.
Well,
I saw 6 people at one point.
The ball's looking on a hit from the backline, and that's exactly what they end up doing. Donna gets up,
But unfortunately, they just
Never
kind of
mind.
get aimed
The ball
at.
tries it, but gets slapped in.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you're all aiming at the ball can't exactly do much. Overclock here, popped by Ronin in response to their ball getting picked, and Nightmare is going to end up taking out Espresso, but they end up chasing Ronin. But Ronin lives on a sliver of HP. There is no way Ronin should have ever likely lived in that situation, but his team does a good job helping him up. Ult, though, in favor, though, I would say favor of Talon, but by barely. As Penny is very close to his blade, but not quite as close as Alpha is to his Transcendence. Deadeye, blocked by Dexterity. Ends up taking out Ronin. But Kyria trades out in Penny. Entity's gonna push up, see if they can hold this corner. Keeping Talon away, but Orb's gonna be running rapid here in the backline at the top of the mine. Ends up taking out full supports here on Entity, and don't know how long Entity's gonna be able to hold here. Ice remains really low here on point. Blue Jay response. He's gonna end up trying to hold the point, but ends up getting taken out, and it looks like that will be point with 1:53 left to go. As we'll see, can Entity end up pulling it faster and or pull at least getting to a 3-pointer?
plan this time.
Ready for battle.
I feel like Entity should play some sort of like anti-dive back like comp with something like a diva to help like to not play dive but to play peel, to use the DM to peel this echo, peel from the peel from the ball, peel and just eat the Ananes and just try and clear out the echo and ball out of before they get that chance to even take a look at their back line.
Good to see you.
And
Looks like
let's look.
Juno here. Picked up by. Actually, it looks like they're going to play like a somewhat brawlier backline here in attacking phase.
5, 4.
But it doesn't looks like they're still kind of debating on what they want to play here because they added about a minute to the clock.
It's looking like they might be running the Sigma comp.
Yep.
As it was on defense, they might just end up getting attacked by too many angles, and the Sigma can't have his shield everywhere.
Right. Well, Sigma is
it's
great
only one
at
spot.
like tossing a rock at a diver, sure, and they can catch him. He's not great exactly at getting surrounded, and he's not fast. He doesn't.
Yeah, when he has a ball on one side,
Right. When he has a ball
Echo
on
on one, Zen on another.
Right,
Can't
and then you have the
deal
poke
with all.
from an Ana and a Soj. Sure, he's great at absorbing a lot of damage, but he can't absorb all of it. And that's going to be the issue, is right now, Entity just can't seem to get any sort of, like,
5.
I'd say they're just not focusing Talon the right characters hard enough, but I don't know. Maybe they're trying. Who knows? Obviously, we don't have their comms, so we don't exactly know what they're saying, potentially, to each other. Stats after the first round.
5.
We've got Nightmare 22 and 3, Alpha 13 and 1, Curia 7 and 2, Orb 15 and 1, Ronin 12 and 3, with J 1 and 6, Dexterity 7 and 6, Espresso 2 and 6, Ice 4 and 6, and Kenny 5 and 6.
Stop the payload.
Dex looks to try to get an opening pick off as the Widow, but it looks like they're going to end up just changing off back into the Soj. Orb defends the card here, sitting on the train. It looks like they're going to try to see if they can catch Dex out, as Dex, as a Soj, is generally vulnerable. Kenny, though, is going to be checking here on Talon, not allowing it, trying to see if he can keep them away from this corner. Looks like they'll end up backing up, as Ice does end up picking out Nightmare.
Hello.
And they'll end up getting this card.
Orb is looking for some backline presence. They end up getting the Juno low, and
Unfortunately, it
the
looks
peel
like
from the break.
yeah, Jay's able to peel, keep Espresso alive, forces Orb to have to back away. Ice sits on this point, keeping it moving. As Dexterity is going to just try to see if they can get that much damage here. Orb gets super low. Dex is looking for the pick, but ends up seeing Victor instead, as he just kind of powers in the tunnel. Looking for another hit, ends up taking out Dexterity, but Curia gets really low. It's looking just to live. It looks like they're just going to end up contesting point as Blue Jay almost pushed it all the way, but Orb ends up taking out Dexterity. It looks like SD might have to reset here, but we'll see what they decide to do. Espresso does trade out Nightmare, so who knows, they might get confident and go for it. Point here, almost taken.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Nano Zen, we love to see it, man. We love to see the Nano Zen. A nanoed transcendence Zen.
Buffing up the heals.
Right. I don't know if the heals get buffed. I'm pretty sure they don't, but mine popped here on point to keep them from touching, and it looks like they'll have to reset with sub 2 minutes left remaining, as Entity almost end up hitting that first point. Orb looking for another hit here. 4 ults here on the side of Entity, with 2 here on the side of Talon, after they popped ults to defend to the point. Battle here between Ronin and Dexterity, seeing who can potentially be the better hit scan, but unfortunately Orb takes out Dexterity before we get the answer to that question. Kenny, lots of Blade and the Orbital Ray coming out, but Kenny deflect kills Kyria, but unfortunately gets taken out by the nades. Brain pop to keep themselves alive, but Ice ends up getting finished off, and they're just gonna have to run away and reset. Stop. Less than a minute remaining here, as Blue Jay and Espresso try to take out Orb here on ball, but unfortunately they can't end up doing that. Ronin and Dexterity kind of having another Soch duel here. Fortunately, nothing happening out there. We go back to the overhead view camera. Ice sends up the shield to try to block out the damage, but they're taking it down. Overclock pops, but unfortunately it just gets jacked. Mines and Crank popped on point to keep the point stable, and ends up catching out 3 people on the side of Entity, and it looks like this will be another fight. Looks like this will be another map win here on the side of Talon, as they end up going up in the scrim 3-0, though again, it is a scrim. They practice for the thing of it, but, you know.
Play of the game.
Orb here, another play. Fortunately, never get to see them. Sad days, tear to my eye. Map choice here for Talon.
The real playmakers here were, I mean, was Nightmare. He kept on following up on Orb's dives on the backline, and it was a tag team on Orb and Nightmare. They kept on.
The most compelling duel of the
kept
match.
on going to the rotation from Slam to
Most
Stickies.
compelling duel of the match, though, I will say, the most compelling duel of the match was Dex and Ronin. Like, they were just trading each other back and forth. Like, it was funny as
sacrificing their life to get the other.
Right, exactly. They wanted each other. They were looking for it. It was like, it was a grudge. Like, they really wanted to kill each other.
They do end up picking Esperanza as Talon's map pick. Probably to
More dive capabilities on this map. Ball
Yep.
tends to find a lot of playtime here, same with stuff like Winston, so... Yeah, Entity right now has not had a great response into the ball comp, but looks like they will be taking a 3 to 5 minute break here, as we like to sit and just debate on what we're gonna see here.
Yeah. Talon's ball comp has been very hard for them to handle. They gotta try and figure something out here.
Yeah.
They can't be playing the same thing as it hasn't worked. They've tried the Sigma comp, they've tried matching the ball, but it just hasn't worked.
Guess we'll see what they decide.
Gotta find a counter to it if they're gonna keep on playing. Try and keep themselves in.
And then once they get back, we'll decide if there's going to be any swaps here. Seeing what they decide to play with. Now, based off what's kind of happening so far, I'm almost kind of like, until Entity figures it out, I see no reason Talon to stop running the ball comp. Until Entity find a solid way to stop the ball from running around and just getting hit, that there's no reason they should ever have to stop running this comp. But we'll see what they decide to do. And for those who watch sports, Stanley Cup Finals on tonight. Edmonton versus Florida. Florida up 2-0 at the end of the first period. Damn it. The one part, the hardest part about casting the scrim is when everybody takes a break and then you're just kind of sitting here waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. Maybe there's a potential swap. I don't think there should be a reason to swap out the comp. Talon has been running, unless the other team has any subs in here.
Which I don't know if
they don't.
Yeah. I'm going to assume that Libe and Fable could be the coaches, but who knows? Maybe they're also players. Who knows? Maybe they're just on the subs. So we'll see. But who knows if they'll be deciding to make out any swaps here, but I guess we'll see what they decide to do. Still just kind of waiting here for the teams to decide what they want to be running here, but very exhilarating analysis right here. It's exhilarating right here. But hello to people in chat. Anybody have any fun questions for anything and or some fun statements? Anybody, feel free. I'm looking at chat right now, so obviously there's like a 10-second delay or something like that, so just keep that in mind. But anybody here? Anybody looking? What are we doing? Matthew in chat says, Talon are on a roll. Ball pun intended. Awesome. Nice. Nice. Get me in there, says my co-caster. Anyway. Try to entertain ourselves, I guess, while we wait for the teams to come back from their pee break or whatever they're doing, getting water.
Yep, it looks like Talon is back from their 10-minute break.
Whatever it was.
Just let's see if they're ready.
We'll see if Entity's ready to go, but we're just kind of waiting here for them to do their thing. I don't know about the Phoenix. We shall see. Who knows? Maybe you end up scooping Talon one day. Who knows? We'll see. But
we did end up trying to get something, but times didn't work out, so Looks
Yeah.
like they are gonna be starting it up.
Here we go. On to Esperanza on map 4.
Welcome to Esperanza. Ready for battle.
And what are we going to be running today? What are we going to be running on Esperanza? Interesting choice. Looks like teams are just deciding out right now. We're just going to kind of sit and hover around the center of the bot. Exhilarating right here. And it looks like they'll be just continuing on to the ball comp, but instead of an Echo, they'll be going a Tracer this time. Tracer, a little faster than Echo, so probably able to follow up hits more, a little more vulnerable though. And it looks like... It looks like they'll be playing a bit more brawl here on the side of
3.
Entity with Arissa, Lucio Bap,
Objective unlocks.
and a Tracer Freya. So, we shall see how this works out. As a team,
Here would like to see the Blue Jay and Dexterity try and play an off angle together, try and isolate and take out possibly the Alpha Kyria and possibly run in.
Speaking of which, they end up
That's how I would play it, but
rotating around
looks
to
like
the,
they aren't.
Looks like they decided to rotate onto.
Maybe they are. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Tracer Lucio's taking an off angle, but it's a 3v2. Yeah, they're getting pressured away, while the rest of Talon is anchoring down the point.
Yeah, but it looks like
I mean, the rest.
Entity will be the first to push the point, and Ronin ends up holding this corner, trying to deny any hard push, but it looks like he'll have to be forced out here, as Kyria and Ronin hold the stairs, with Alpha also on the bridge here, as the core looks to kind of live. Orb, though, rotates back. Rolls back up in here as Dexterity and Blue Jay look to see if they can potentially get a hit onto the core, as Blue Jay bops Kyria off the high ground, forcing the Ana to have to kind of play away from their team for a second, but ends up getting it back. Ronin and Orb catch 2, but Ice picks out 1. 4v3 here for Talon, but it looks like it's just going to devolve as Talon end up getting the first fight win of the map. Ults here, deciding more Talon than they do here on Entity. Pulse Bomb, the only thing that's close here for Entity, as Dexterity looks to take the high ground, but Ronin ends up checking. Looks to be kind of spy checking it. Ronin though gets super low.
Ronin is 1.
Super low. But it looks to be battling Kenny here. Pulse Bomb here, popped by Kenny. Ends up catching Kyria, but slam in here from Orb. And ends up, Victor's kind of left by himself here on the high ground. And Kenny's gonna be, or not Kenny. You've got Dexterity here, being able, I'm just gonna say Dex. Gonna be able to run it here on the back line. He's gonna try to duel out here. And ends up catching, Nightmare. And so next fight win here goes to Entity as they look to kind of start to slowly figure this ball comp out. As we hear Fleish's, I'm assuming family start yelling at random shit in the background.
Leaving the men done.
Cool. As we tune into Orb, gets a kick here on Kenny. That's gonna leave having a back half here. Right here finishes off Blue Jay. Orb looking for another plan here, potentially trying to catch Espresso out. Looks like they'll just end up running away here.
Greetings.
Hey.
Ronin picks out Dexterity with it. Looks like they were trying to run the back line. Ronin here gonna sit on this off angle with an overclock. Gets tagged here by Kenny. Oh, the Blue Jay ends up dying here. Sound Barrier doesn't pop it. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a big stagger here for Entity as they look to just get back into this fight. They have the lead, but not for long, as it looks like Talon will end up getting the bot league and potentially checkpoint. 5 ults here for Entity. They are looking to possibly get some use out of them. 3 ults for response here in Talon, especially that Transcendence.
Full explore.
Especially if the entity wants to use more of their modern defensive vaults, and if they can't get out that transcendence beforehand, it's not gonna do much. If they get the point, the boss keeps pushing. Ice Cream's gonna hold this corner here. Pushing forward, off the Terra Surge, pulling out Furia, and Furia ends up getting taken out by the rest of the team. Transcendence and overclock here, popping Talon, but how effective those work. Thanks, Dad. Yeah. Hey, comment in the game chat that you all really hate Talon. It's like, that's really fair. It looks like Jax will get the better of the DPS duel. I think we got Ronin. But Ward's gonna be kind of lurking around here, possibly for another slam. Nightmare though, he's gonna be kind of up here, off and above, looking to get a pick onto Espresso. They do get the pick and get the recall. Ends up starting to do a Penny here, as Penny ends up having to run away. Unfortunately, Nightmare's not able to finish off the pick. Rotation here. And I pull away just as they get the pick onto Penny. That is piss poor timing here. Pulse Bomb off by Nightmare doesn't seem to get value, but other than the damage. Supports here on Talon going to be holding the high ground here. By the bot. Need to make sure they don't get picked here.
The missed balls from the Chaser. Trying to take out the standard.
Goes wide, unfortunately. The bot's gonna keep going. Now over at 100 meters here for Talon. This map started out well here for Entity, but unfortunately, there's still... Wall comp is still running rampant in their backline as Dex makes the swap over to the Genji this time. Terra Surge pops. Terra Surge pops. No value quite yet, but Dexterity does catch Alpha. Black. He's unable. Kind of living on that offense. Running Furia ends up having a back away here. As it hurts. Still Gibby looking in the back line. There's a yawn. Tired. Anyway. Spear catches with Orb. And Blue Jay picks on Nightmare, but unfortunately they're not able to push the bot much more. Looks like they're not willing to keep pushing it forward here. Mine pop. No one caught. But it is going to allow Talon here to push for it and possibly get more bot progress. Ronin here, sitting on the right side here of the building, trying to see if he can get Penny out, which they do with a rail. And now, overclock popped by Ronin, and he's getting me picked here, but unfortunately, doesn't seem to get me taken, but ends up getting saved here from the Genji and the Orisa. Jay gets caught out. Verity's going to be hunting the backline. Unfortunately, not much they can do, and it looks like that will be a full map cap here for Talon. Hello to new people in chat. Hello Isaiah the Therapist, and hello Lemon.
Play of the game.
But this next map will be Entity's map pick, and I'll allow Fleech to talk for a little bit as food is ready, and I will be right back because I do not want to leave stuff behind. So I will be back.
You can go with that. I'll take care of us. Yep, Talon did look but what the. They should be probably picking a map or that where the ball comp has less space to work around. Some like work around so that Talon don't have as much as an advantage just on map pick. And like I said before, I feel like they should try. The enemy team should try and work a comp that can peel for their backline more instead of trying to counter dive them. Well, but they aren't doing it. They end up going Saravasa, which recently has been a very good ball map for players like Kellen and Infected. So yep, here if they are running the ball again, I feel like the enemy team should be playing the long angles to try and outpoke them, which they by running by running a diva wins a diva trying to outpoke them, having a cast that hinder the ball whenever they come in, and just having instead of the Ana break. I know traditionally Ana can't sleep the ball, can need herself to help. Alicia Curie would be better with if Alicia knows how to play against ball. He would just keep on marking the Alicia, booping him away from any ball grapples or slams that he attempts to do. From the Kiri just sends always has TP or Enthusi to get out of sticky situations when she gets pressured by the ball tracer or the ball echo. The Susie will also provide them with another form of defense from the discords and ties. As we go in, we do have Ronan getting subbed out for Ace. Probably gonna run more of a brawly comp with the Freya again.
Traveling to Suravasa.
As we do head into the map, we'll see what they are playing. We do have a potential Malga comp on the side of Talon. Yep, Talon is playing the almost exactly the same like the old Malga comp that was dominant during Stockholm.
5,
With the only change
4,
being the Lucio Kiri instead of the Gina Brig. So Talon's job is just trying to outbrawl the enemy team. Well, but they are looking like. Yep. Yep. So they're probably gonna be running a Gino Brig or a Genji Soldier in your cast comp here. So. Up, we're swapping over to the Brig and
As we've returned, it
just
looks
need
like we have returned. It looks like Ronan's in, or Ice is in for Ronan. Anyway, so what do we got here? So we got a Malka comp. Malka comp running from Talon, it looks like. With the Sigma comp coming back. Sigma is usually strong on this first point here on Surabasa. Anyway, anything we miss?
Nope, we just had to switch the Saba onto Ronin, from Ronin onto the Ace.
Fair enough. No.
The Sombra is coming out onto Dex. Probably anticipating another ball comp to try and hack the ball out of Slimes and or
It doesn't look like they will be playing that. It
And
looks
the
like
rolls, but
it looks like they'll be playing.
it
kind of
doesn't
a,
look like it.
Yeah, it looks like they'll be playing a Malga Rush with
3,
a.
2, 1.
So they'll be looking to enable in
Initial
rush hits
flashpoint.
instead of dive
Maybe.
hits.
Mark it.
So as we get into the first point here, we're just gonna kind of hover above point. Talon's gonna be taking here on the outer rotation, while it looks like Entity's gonna be holding the inner rotation. So still kind of poking each other out a bit, feeling it out. Still not much. Ace gets really low. Oh, but a trade out here. Kenny and Alpha both go very low, and Ace is about to also go down here. It's like they decided to get off the ball comp. So I still would have considered taking the ball comp, but I guess they wanted to change it up and practice something else, I guess. Sombra still can be decent in hacking them out up,
We do.
but it looks like points gonna be held here by
The Sombra
Talon.
should be used to try and deny cage. Sombra should be used to try and deny the cage. The cage fights every single time. But if the Sombra doesn't, that's a really bad thing because they have no other way to survive it other than kind of force an orbital into there. But as soon as orbital leaves the cage,
And while it looked like
They
a
get
fight
left
win
alone till
early
die.
for NGD, they just aren't able to sustain here. And Talon ends up getting a point and able to forgive me. If my camera looks janky, I also have food. I'm having a split pea soup and some bread to dip in my soup, so.
oh, nice. Well,
So, point. First point,
we
going
did.
to be
Looking
captured
like we
here.
do have Talon capping first.
So they will be capping first here. And we'll be moving on to
I'm with you. Next
Market.
flashpoint. Temple.
going to Temple. Started in, catches Ice super low, and they're Alpha should be able to pick up the pieces of only basically a smash on and Kenny though pick out Nightmare, and looks like it's going to definitely be an heavy fight. So we also definitely favor Talon or Entity in comparatively to Talon because Ace is still looking to build up. Oh, Kenny pops up the Bola shot. Is that a misclick? I didn't see. Is that a misclick or
Not
they?
C-ball.
That's interesting. So,
It could have been an ult to try and just secure the kill.
cage broken by
Like I
EMP.
said, they saved Sombra EMP for the cage.
But unfortunately, I think it's a little overuse of the ults here as the rally comes out from Blue Jay. And it looks like Talon will just reset after about a point progress of 40%.
That is. Talon does have extreme ult advantage with having every single ult on cage. Other team only having orbital. If I were them, I would try and play early with the full orbital, trying to prevent them time. But Talon ended up going out fast and end up forcing them back.
Beat pop. Unfortunately. Ooh, ace though. It is a lot to cancel for the brain. But it looks like Talon will get the flip here, and Orbital Ray still held here by Entity, and then we've got Kitsune and Copy here from Talon. They're gonna be depending on who wants to play first here.
It looks like it's gonna be Talon with them holding up close.
They'll be holding up here.
It was who ends up holding first.
Both support all popped out, seeing if they can catch one another out. But it looks like it's just going to be a heavy fight, nothing happening, but Dexterity picks out Knight and Ace picks out Blue Jay. And now we're starting to evolve into kind of just chaos and killing. And it looks like Talon will end up getting the point and with a fight win. We move on to Ruin. So they'll get close.
This might be a potential pick on the Straya, and it is. Same thing for the Sombra.
Yeah, Dex tried to go in there, but unfortunately got caught out and just ended up poked out, so.
right here, we do have Talon trying to, looking like they're pulling early to prevent them from getting a chance at even capping. With the Sombra coming up from behind.
But unfortunately, nothing of it. 3 ults here on the side.
Kyria does get picked out by Kenny from the take game.
Freya still is very strong character. Even after the nerf, she's still very strong. And EMP pop. Looks like they weren't ever waiting for the cage. Looks like they just wanted to intentionally get a fight. As though it still looks though. Secure hold here from Talon, even with the whole shot pop. And it looks like it will still be a fight win here for Talon. Even with the use of the EMP and the bullet shot, it looks like Talon is still going to get the fight win here. They just were not able. They just weren't able to actually ever secure anything solid. And Talon's going to keep holding this point at 60% in count.
It does look Talon is going to try and look for an early cage.
Yeah, Orb's going to be kind of sitting in this room,
Orb
kind of hiding.
setting up.
But Ice is like spy checking that. Here comes Orb running in. Here comes the cage.
Looks like they are going for the cage.
Almost got jacked, but does manage to pop it out. And Nightmare does take out Dex. And it looks like that'll be first point here for Talon. As Nightmare catches out the triple kill with Alpha also picking out one, and it's going to be a reset here for Entity. As we like to fly.
Talon does have the ult advantage for right now. Talon does have the ult advantage with them having rush copy and the Blossom, but the other team is coming up on the rally and orbital bola in the Sig. Just a fight to see who can build these ultimates and get the most out. Okay.
But it doesn't look like they'll end up building out that bullet shot. They're gonna die, and Ace is gonna end up blocking over Blossom, but ends up getting sucked by the Sigma. Rally though. Response, trying to see if they can last through this fight, potentially take a point. Ice gets jacked here on the Flux. Nightmare is now playing the copy Genji, but ends up not getting much. But scrappy fight ends in some trades, but ends up going for Talon. They end up taking the point. Ult committed from Entity, but they still have the orbital ray and close to a bola shot.
I'm here.
More passion, more energy. Thank you, Junebug. Thank you. Anyway, bullet shot.
We do have Talon playing early with the rush.
And Dexterity goes
to
here
follow
with the
up and
blade,
try and get,
seeing
like,
if they can
5 kills.
potentially get a couple. Dex is looking to catch out Nightmare, but ends up not being able to find much else as they push forward with the orbital ray help. No one dies in that fight, but it ends up pretty scrappy, but allows Entity to circle and head up to point contest. Dexterity gets a flex here onto orbital. And now Talon's down a tank. Sure, they had the point, but right now they're down a tank. Can they survive through this? Ace. Oh, trades out here. Still Talon's down the tank, but it looks like they'll just end up backing off the point and letting Entity end up taking it. And they'll just reset. Flux here and another close rally here coming up on the side of Entity with 3 ults here on the side of Talon, and they'll end up killing out everybody after the quick reset, even with I don't think everybody is there. I guess a quick taxi by the Lucio, and they'll end up taking the point here. Quick flip and a point take. And we'll be going to Palace here for the final point.
Flashpoint, Palace.
Rally and Flux here on the side of Entity, with pretty much almost every ult here for Talon, barring the cage. Slam in from Orb. Trying to see if they can catch Ice Cream out, but unfortunately they are unable to manage. And looks like he's just gonna back up and block the pop, but a beat in response ends up catching everybody really low, but from the overhealth. But scrappy fight. Talon still has their tank, and so they're gonna have the advantage here. And it looks like it's gonna be another fight win here for Talon as they end up capping the point here.
this is a world for Talon, and only having to rally and possibly a blade for.
Okay, top early and he gets taken out. And the Blossom here is top and just into
It is a 2-for-nothing all trade onto.
yeah, but
Does end up
Ice is gonna
not
make the
favoring
swap
Talon,
over
but they
to
do have 2 ultimates.
Yeah. Ice is gonna make the swap over to Rissa here. Probably just staying a little better against Amalga. They're not gonna get stumped quite as easily, especially when they're trying to use their sub. Furia. Ooh. Blade here. Popped by Dex. Gets Furia. Ends up trying to slash up more. Ends up slashing up the copy of Nightmare. Espresso kills out Ace. And looks like Talon's gonna have to back up off a point as they are down players. And they end up using a good portion of their ults. And it looks like that'll just leave Orb staggered as he's 99% here on the point for Talon. It looks like the cap is going to be coming in, and it looks like Entity's going to want to play this a little more aggressive, a little more forward, trying to see if they can build up some progress. They do have Orbital Ray and the Bola Shot, and almost coming up on the Terror Surge. The only closest thing Talon has as Dexterity picks out Nightmare is the beat, and then after that, it's Cage. But Cage will take so much longer to build up than a beat, especially if you play it with shield. They pop the Ray, even though they're
This
not
is a
in
very
danger.
early Ray.
And so Talon's just gonna be able to kite this. This was definitely a early Ray of like kind of don't come any closer ass Ray. And so we're just gonna be, and Talon's gonna feel confident after the Ray gets popped, and they're not gonna have like any of like the healing sustain from it. Terror Surge popped, but a Suzu allows Talon to move out of the Ray. Nightmare does get picked by Ice, and it looks like 80% counting here, but they'll end up committing the beat. 2 players left here for Talon, and it looks like for this final point, even with the early Ray, it looks like Entity will get this final point. 4-1 on Flashpoint for Team Talon. Still ends in the win, but a good finish. Good finish by Entity. Honestly, I think the swap to Orisa definitely needed to happen sooner. But even then, better late than never. That was map 5.
I believe there is one more map to go.
Well, they
After
technically
this
have all
one,
played. They've
or
played
no?
all 5 modes, so they could play any map they wanted to if they wanted, or they could end the script if they really wanted to. But there's still a half hour left, so.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And this is what we're figuring out right
The
now.
matches
as
did end up
Korea's
going up
asking.
by quick.
Yeah. And while Energy did have flashes of they could possibly do it, they just were unable to keep the momentum going. Momentum was firmly in Talon's corner. Now, depending on what they want to do, I guess we'll see. Looks like they will want to play one more.
Yep, they do end up accepting it.
And it looks like they will be trading out Dexterity for Libe. And so it looks like they'll
We
be
are
making
looking
a,
at who's gonna pick maps and what map type they're gonna play, but
yeah.
we're just waiting on a response.
Yeah. Don't know what they might want to play, but hey Chad, any predictions on what map we'll be playing? Any predictions? Obviously the people playing don't respond, but obviously the people that aren't playing or listening to anything, like, pop a guess, hazard a guess.
Oh, they end up going to Lejang. The classic map for control.
Classic control map. We love Lijiang out here. Is there much of a difference between regular and New Year? I don't think there's much of a difference, but
It might just be like a lighting difference in some scenery.
yeah, I guess so. But I don't know. I've never seen much of a difference, but definitely. Also, we've got a guest in here. We've got Cool Caleb. Hello. And it looks like they
Hi.
want a quick bathroom break. But it looks like,
Some predictions for what they'll play. So
yeah.
Lejang is usually usually more of a brawly comp, a brawly map
Yeah.
on the first
Though
couple
people
points.
certainly
Other than the one,
I don't know. It depends, because Lijiang can provide some poke. It just depends. Like, Gardens can apply some poke, because it definitely has the longest sightlines of the map. But even then, I still find you can also play a dive on that one. Same with... I'd even say with Night Market, but who knows? We'll see. Anyway, chat. Any fun comments? Any questions? Anything of the sort? While we possibly get ready for the last map of this scrim.
Not really.
But yeah. Also, as I enjoy my split pea soup.
Also, thank you for welcoming me team, by the way. I appreciate it.
Sorry. I'm hearing Fleish's.
That's pretty.
Yeah, I think you're slightly lagging out. You are definitely robot. You are a robot right now.
And I'll just type in the chat then.
Fair enough. See Fleish being like Ronan going 2-20. As we have Ronan subbing in for Ace. And so this will be the lineup to end on Li Shang. You are welcome. You are very much welcome there, Caleb. Seven people here in chat. Or at least one of them's probably me watching from my phone, but even then it's like still it's probably some of the most people I've had in my chat in a while. Which is nice to see. Hello to people.
8 now.
8. Ooh. 8. One of them's probably Fleece as well. But even then, anything other than Fleece saying something in chat. Anybody. Looking to do something while we wait for them to finish their bathroom break. So, any comments, any questions, anything, any fun little facts of the day. I don't know, something. Something that we can talk about. Ronan just responds to you, bruh.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, please, do you see what was just put in chat by somebody in the Discord VC chat?
I'll take a look right now. Oh yeah, that thing.
Is that actually real?
Yep, we are. Yeah. No, we are done. Staff is taking care of it right now, and it
Yeah, I
has
don't.
already been taken care of.
Yeah, I don't know how much I believe that.
Shout out to our community. I believe it was Kyria who took care of that in the middle of a scrim.
Shout out to Kyria on admin duties, on mod duties, while also playing in the scrim. Shout out to Kyria. She just goated. Anyway, it looks like they're back. Looks like we'll be getting into this next one. We get on to Li Zhang.
Now arriving at Lijiang Tower. Ready for battle.
As we get into the final map, likely of the scrim.
Yep,
And I don't know, what is the...
looks like we do have Talon rolling up on the ball comp again.
Yep, they'll be pulling this out.
Yeah.
As...
Maybe possibly another Doom comp out of...
Yeah, which it could work. Aggressive style Doom comp with a Lucio Cleary, and looks like Libe is going to be ready for the Sim TP out of spawn, but it looks like they're going to be favoring the Tracer. 9 people! Oh my god, 9 people! Can we hit 10 people? Come on, people. Invite your friends, come on. Invite your friends, come watch. It's free, there's no, you know, it's not like a paid thing. This will probably be sitting right up on my channel the moment this is over, so you can watch back if you want. Anyway, Kenny taking the Genji. And it looks like they'll be playing a very kind of aggressive style dive against the ball. Oh, back to... Anyway, so as we start, ooh, Ice gets slept and then just exploded by the core here of Talon, and they're just instantly demolished. As the rest of entity like to sit on the side, but Libe with a pick here onto Nightmare. Forced to recall, and ends up backing up. Orb ends up trying to chase. But pick here on the side of Talon, and another sleep here onto Ice, and not able to last here with the help of just the focusing beam, Discord Orb, and just the sleep dart, man. There's no way he's living that. And did you know, fun fact, that if you're Discord, it takes less damage for the Doom to get an empowered punch after taking damage from your block. Fun fact. Anyway.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Actually, it's a fun little fact. Anyway, it looks like Libe is going to be trying to backcap the point here. As Talon still keeps up the fight here. We're going to come in here on Nightmare, watching what they're going to be doing here. Sticky's popped onto Libe and actually manages to finish off the kill. And now seems to be battling here against Penny and focusing beam. Penny barely escapes with his life, but actually doesn't. Gets around the corner thinking he's safe, but ends up getting caught here. Sitting up on the high ground. Libe trying to see if they can get a flank going towards the recall. Ice getting very low and just explodes again. As the rest of SD is gonna have to be backing up here. Libe missing the pulse bomb. Here he is watching this angle. Ice, what is going on? Said from Doombug. Anyway. Ice though finally gets something going here on this. Finally getting some use out of the Doom. Decides not to punch because worried about going off the map. 95 and counting. So, Ice is going to get the touch. Though, having to battle out against the ball. That's it. Espresso, DP'd in.
This ends now.
Looks like Red beat, Pop keep the fight going here for Entity, but Alpha does get to take on the Ice, but then it's just moving a lot difficult, and Blue Jay finds himself in the mines, and the rest of Team Talon, and they're just getting bopped in the corner, and they're just getting caught. Nothing they can do there. Presto almost gets bopped off the map. eBay takes 2. Trying to see if they can last a little bit longer on point, but unfortunately unable to, as it's 100 to 8.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
For Talon. They're way too frazzled, said Bug. They might be.
Ready for battle.
You know, totally understand. But as we'll take a look here at the stat line of the first game, for those to take a look, just another kind of low death count from Talon, and only like
We're in this together.
only one person without a death. You're in Espresso on the side of Entity. Base is going to be making a swap over to Soj, and Ice is going to be making the swap over to Ram, as we're in Control Center. Control Center, a little more of an enclosed map, so Ball is going to have a little less utility here. And we're going to be having a Brig Juno, the first kind of Brig Juno we're going to see in for Talon. Like, they've been favoring a lot of Lucio and Kiri and Ana. Like, we have not seen much Brig Juno from them. Looks like Ice is still deciding what they want to go. Looks like they might decide here on the Orisa.
Oh.
With, I think...
Maybe on the Sig.
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see what they decide. But Orb's going to be playing the Ram as well. And Ronin, we saw them on the Reaper. And the Nightmare will be... But playing Sims probably for the TP. And then they'll be playing Mei. So most likely, Talon's going to be looking for walls. And then a speed ring into the team.
The objective.
So, Orisa's coming out on Ice Cream as both teams begin to walk down the mid, but quicker rollout here for Talon as they begin to hold midpoint first. Though, Kenny holding the off angle. Ice. A little low. That's the reload. Just going to try to keep holding space here. Unfortunately, they're sitting below half health. But, looks like they're able to live and keep it going. Alpha gets a kick on it. And that means they're down 3. And that's going to be snowballing here to start to end the rest of the fight. And that'll be sure. Well, it looks like Entity's going to get the first bit of cap progress at 10%, but it looks like Talon will get the first fight win. End up starting to cap and will respond. Or a bit of Orb. Or the kick. Which should really be watchful given he's under leg. Stay here. Wall. Off here by Nightmare. And unfortunately nowhere for Ice Cream to go. And they're just going to get picked off with the rest of Entity. As it looks like Talon's looking just to smother at this point. Holding this choke. Put the soup to the side as I just move my mouse and just send it everywhere, so we're just gonna go into somebody's perspective. Anyway, rally popped by Victor. Gonna be pushing in here, playing obviously on the Talon break spin as that's the freeze popped by but Terra Surge popped. But unfortunately finds no value. But nobody does die and freeze, but unfortunately they're just walled off from their spawn door.
There is a backpack cap from Kenny. That does buy buy them some extra time to try and get a recontest and some fights going.
Unfortunately, though, Kenny will be taken out, so that's going to stagger him out, and that might actually negate the back tap. So, 31% for Entity. But 17 counting for Talon. It's not looking great here for Entity. They do have Kitsune Rush and Immune into this Orbital Ray and Blossom. So we'll see which one eventually gets the value. Kitsune Rush pops. They're wanting to walk here. But it looks like this is going to go in the favor here of Talon. Sure, Libe gets to pick on the Ronin, but unfortunately the double pulsar kill plus Orb walking in on both Ice and Blue Jay just going to leave them out hanging high and dry. As Libe changes to Widow to stop them potentially spawn camping here. But it's going to be 100 to 31. On the side here, Uptown. While they had the right idea to walk in with the Kitsune Noon, it's just they couldn't last through the Ray Blossom, which
Ready for battle.
definitely proved to be stronger. Now we've hit to their final map here on Gardens, and it looks like they'll be bringing back out the ball comp, as this is a lot more open of a map. But Libe is going to be picking up the Pharah, and if anybody's watched OWCS, Korea, Pacific, Japan, NA, EMEA, you'll know, like, this map can be slippery, especially with the Pharah boops, or the Lucio boops. Especially even Orisa that isn't safe. A ball isn't safe. And so we'll see what happens here. Gonna have some more soup while we wait. Anyway, looks like teams have decided what they want to play. As we TP out of spawn for both teams.
3. Capture the objective.
No boop here for Entity. The orb gets really low from the Orisa. Slams down onto Libe. Gets really low, but gets the health pack to survive. Looks like Entity wants a bunker here on the point to get away from the ball. But Echo usually has a matchup advantage into Pharah, takes them out, but Espresso trades it right back. Right now, we get a contest on point, but it looks like Talon is just kind of happy to give this up, maybe. But it looks like Orb's just going to be spinning around the point a little bit. Gonna just provide, just going to be the ball spinner. Gonna make a blender, quite literally. As you see, the rest of Talon kind of sitting here on the back, waiting kind of for their ball and Echo to get a pick, but they are out of line of sight here. But Orisa gets super low and nice to be picked out here. This is Ronin getting also a click of the rail shot. It's going to be a cap here for Talon, as they'll probably look to take some space here as Orb begins rolling around, slams down, hits Kenny. Ice walks around with a charged spear, but looks to a miss. And Orb fell. And now they're down a tank. This close to a minefield, this is not good, but can Entity take advantage of the situation? Orisa on point with the help again.
Into the iris.
Alpha looking to just provide a little more stimulation with Transcendence, but Curious just kind of caught on the terror surge, but ends up not dying from it. Ends up living on just a slight amount of HP, and that ends up being a point flip. Point flip there for Talon, has only 12% gain for the side of Entity, as the minefield looked to have been popped. We've got a Blade, a Beat, and a Kitsune Rush here coming up on the side of Entity, with Nano, Over, and Copy from... Looks like they'll just be poking out Entity, kind of keeping them back at bay a little bit. Looks like... Ooh, huge pick. Without the Lucio, they don't exactly have speed point, but might have to wait a little bit. Looks like Entity is going to be wanting to play a white room here, because they do not want to be playing out a little bit. head. Pops the blade, but ends up just getting absolutely demolished. Can't quite get anything of that blade. Blade goes for naught. Now, Ice is just kind of sitting on a point. Pull down top. Low health. Takes Ronin out with them. But unfortunately, they just can't go anywhere. 5% and counting. Baby, Santo made the stop over Tracer. Has a pulse bomb in hand.
This ends now. Adaptive circuit
Or,
engaged.
yeah. Oh! Huge block on the overclock! While Ronin sure got espresso, but got deflected right back in his face. And pulse bomb next to Victor. And it looks like Kenny's gonna end up taking this point, so Kenny's gonna end up dying. Or I'm just gonna stall out here. Go around the corner, kind of holding the bridge. I'm going to allow much to get past. Descendants pop, and unfortunately, nothing Ice Cream can do as they're kind of left out hanging high and dry. Orb gonna end up taking the point here on the ball. Faye's gonna be contesting here. Unfortunately, they don't last much longer as a Tracer, but Ice is back as a ball. Without the Blue Jay, but unfortunately both get taken out. That's gonna be point flip, and that looks to be map set. That seems to be game set match. As Talon 3-0 Lijiang.
Play of the game.
Adaptive circuit.
But insane plays here by, well, there were some really good plays here by Entity. Talon just kind of had a step up on Entity, really. And so that ends the scrim. And I want to thank everybody for coming to watch. This was fun to cast. Thank you, Fleesh. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Yes. But,
I tried.
yeah. It's all good. Now, before we close here, who do we think is our player of the match here? What do we think?
I'm thinking it's gotta be.
It's good. I'm thinking.
Gotta be Orb Nightmare.
Orb Nightmare. Even Victor was doing quite a bit too. Like they were, like I felt like they were the biggest, like highest noticeable players on their team. But I almost feel, I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm thinking it's kind of hard to tell. Like Talon was just dialed in. Generally, they were just dialed in. I think it could go either which way. So either way, good plays by everybody, and thank you very much for everybody coming to watch. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, you know, the usual, the whole stereotypical YouTuber thing, you know. Nah, I do this for a hobby, but anyway, it was fun to do. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I will talk to you all later. Bye, guys.